In this video, we are going to discuss about operating system components. As we know, operating system is an interface between user and the hardware of the computer. In addition to that, it provides so many services. To doing these services, it consists of different components. Those are process management, main memory management, secondary storage management, I/O system management, file management, protection system, networking, command interpreter system. So without delay, we will start our discussion with these components. Process management. So process management means to manage the process in the operating system. Now we need to understand what is exactly a process. So a process is a program under execution. A process is a program in execution. Let us take one simple scenario. Suppose we are writing a C program. Okay, so we save the C program. In the sense, the program stores in the hard disk. Generally we call it as a program. When I try to execute that program, the program is loaded into primary memory. Now it is an executing program, that is called process. So all the execution programs are process. Now process needs what? So while executing any program, it needs some resources. What are the resources? CPU time, memory, files and I/O device. So take the C program example. To execute any C program, we need memory because we are dealing with the variables. For each and every variable we need memory. And to execute the program, all the execution is the responsible of CPU. So operating system has to provide the CPU time for this process. And while executing the program, it depends on the predefined files. It has to access the predefined files. And also it needs input and output devices services to read the input from the user to produce the output. Okay, so these are the resources needed by each and every process. And here the operating system is responsible for the activities of the process like creation and deletion of the process. So the operating system can create a process and delete the process. Process suspension and resumption. That means once one process is allocated to the CPU, CPU is executing the process. Meanwhile, some high priority process is coming. Now the operating system suspend the current executing process and wait this process in a buffer. After the high priority process execution, again it resumed this previous process. That is called resumptions. Process synchronization. In a computer, there are so many processes are trying to access the common resources. In such situation, there might be chance for getting undesired results. Now the operating system takes the responsibility to synchronize these processes without disturbing the results. That is called process synchronization. Process communication. To establish the communication between the process, we call it as inter-process communication. In a computer, there are two types of process, independent process and cooperative process. Cooperative process always depends on other process. So in order to execute one process, it needs other process services. At that time, there should be a communication between these processes. Now the operating system task is to establish this communication. Okay, so in process management or for process management, what the operating system can do, it can create the process and delete the process. It can suspend the process and resume it. It maintain the synchronization of different process and make the establishment of communication between the process. So the next concept of the operating system components is main memory management. In case of main memory, so what is a memory? Memory is a large array of words or bytes. All are addressable. That means each byte has its own address. Okay, and main memory is a volatile storage device. Volatile means when the power is on, the content in the memory is available. When you switch off the power, that means your computer is shut down. All the contents in the primary memory or main memory are removed. Okay, what is a memory? Memory consists of different bytes of information and each is addressable. And main memory is a volatile storage device. So here the operating system responsibility for doing the management for this main memory is it keeps track of which parts of memory are currently being used and by who. That means it always monitor. So how much memory is occupied. So who use this memory? Who in the sense process. Which process use the memory? Okay. Which memory? What are the parts of the memory used? Operating system always keep track. And it decides which processes to load when memory space becomes available. That means while it is monitoring which process is loading, which process occupies the memory and which memory area is free. So it can decide. So based on the available memory, which process is going to load. So it can decide based on that. Because it is always keep track of the parts of the memory which are available and which are occupied. So that it can decide. So in before the operating system there are so many processes are there. For a process how much memory is needed, it knows. It knows also how much memory is available, where the memory is available, so that it can load the particular process to the particular memory area. And it allocates and deallocates memory space as needed. Suppose once a process is coming for execution, it needs some memory. Now the operating system checks whether the memory is available in the RAM or not. If it is available, so the operating system loads the process to the memory. That means it allocates. Once the process execution is over, it simply removes the memory allocated to the process. That is called deallocation. Okay, so here memory means it is an array of words or bytes and each are addressable, and main memory is always volatile. Now here the operating system responsibility is it always keep track of the parts of the memory which are used and by whom those are used, which process is used, so that it can decide when any new process is coming, it decides the memory is available or not, so that it can load it. Once the execution of the process is over, it can remove the process from the memory. That is called deallocation. So that is about memory management. The next component is secondary storage management. So what is secondary storage in the sense? Nowadays each and every computer use hard disk. So without hard disk we can't do anything, because even if you want to install any operating system you need the hard disk. But in the earlier days without hard disk also you can use the computers. But nowadays it is not possible. So as we have primary memory, we need secondary memory also. This is also the important memory. Right? Now the operating system responsible for this secondary storage is it can do the free space management. So free space in the sense operating system monitors the hard disk. So where the memory was allocated, where is the free space. Because we are doing so many tasks in the computer, we store some files and we remove the files. There are some memory holes are happening. Now with utilities like disk defragmentation, operating system adjusts all this free space into a combined and placed at one area. So that is free space management, because if all the free space is available at particular area, so the accessing of the content on that space is easy. Okay. Then storage allocation is another responsibility. So how the memory is allocated in the hard disk, whether the allocation of memory is in a linear fashion or in dynamic fashion. So there are different allocation methods using indexes also. Now the operating system identifies which method is suitable for the request. And disk scheduling. So disk scheduling consists of different algorithms. Using these algorithms, operating system trying to access the data on the disk. Disk in the sense hard disk. So there are so many algorithms are written and the operating system takes the suitable algorithm for the suitable task. So this is about secondary storage management. So the next component we are going to discuss is input-output system management, I/O system management. The I/O system consists of buffer caching system, general device driver interface, and drivers for specific hardware devices. That means for every input-output device, because for a computer there are so many input-output devices are attached. At a minimum, we are using a keyboard and mouse for the input and monitor for the output. Okay. Now the operating system manages here the buffer caching system. For example, we are taking the keyboard as an example. So different users type the keyboard at different speeds. The data is going to the operating system. Okay. So because the data is coming at different speeds, there should be some syncing mechanism to receive the data from the input. So we need a buffer. So the operating system manages this buffer. Not only for the keyboard. You take the printer as an example. For a printer, for a single click you are giving some 1000 pages document for printing. But the printer prints one document at a time. So it stores that document content in the local buffer, and once the printing job done for that page, it loads the second page content in the local buffer. So maybe it accepts one page or multiple pages, that depends on the printer capacity. So that is the buffer caching system. It can be controlled by the operating system. And to attach any device to the computer, we need to install the driver software. For every hardware device, external hardware device attached to the computer needs driver software, and there should be a device driver interface. Device and driver interface. For every device, if the device is communicate with the operating system through the driver software, through the driver interface only it can communicate. Now the operating system job is to maintain this interface properly. Okay, so that is about I/O system management. So the next component of the operating system is file management. So files represent programs and data. So in a computer, whatever the thing you want to store, it can be stored in terms of files only. For example, your C program. If you want to store your C program, finally that program is a file. Suppose you prepare a document and you save that document. It's a Word file. So like that, everything you can store in computer in form of files. Now the operating system takes its responsibility for the following activities of the files. What are those? File creation and deletion. So through the operating system only we can create the files and we can delete the files. And directory creation and deletion also. So you create the directory, on the directory you can create the files. So generally files has to be stored in the directories. Okay, maybe the directory consists of directly files or it consists of subdirectories. Support of primitives for manipulating files and directories. That means once you created, you can update the files and you can update the directories also. You can rename it, you can change the content, you can change the location also. Mapping files onto the secondary storage and file backup on non-volatile storage. So once you created the files, you can take the backup of the files also. Even the system crash or the file lost, you can get the files from another location. So all these file manipulation or activities are the responsible of the operating system. The next component is protection system. Protection refers to a mechanism for controlling access by programs, processes, or users to both system and user resources. For a computer, there are so many users accessing the computer. Each user has its own resource like data. Okay, and different processes are communicating, different processes are executing. Okay, so if there is no protection mechanisms, any user can access any user's data, important data. So for that reason, protection takes an important role. Now, the operating system provides these protection mechanisms. How this protection mechanism has to be established in the sense, when you compare, if there is a protection mechanism as established, then you can compare, like there is a distinction, there is a difference between the authorized users and unauthorized users. So for a computer, definitely there are authorized users and unauthorized users. How we can distinguish? Every authorized users have certain username and password credentials. So if a user logging into the computer system by using username and password, whatever the activity is doing on that computer, those activities has to be recorded in terms of log files. Okay, if any unwanted thing happen, we can identify which person accessed the computer, what he performs, what task is done by using the log file, so that you can identify the risk also. And it specifies the controls to be imposed. So there are different controls has to be assigned to each and every users at different levels. For example, administrator user, a normal user, like that administrator user can have the ability to add new softwares or remove softwares or modify the softwares, like that, some extra privileges. But the normal users, they can only access the data. So this can be assigned even at file level or at the system level also. Even for a file, you can make the user to read that file only, not to update. Okay, like that you can maintain the controls and provide a means of enforcement. That means by forcibly you can apply these things. By forcibly you can grab the things from unauthorized users. By forcibly you can tell the unauthorized users for accessing such kind of events. So like that you can maintain the protection. So the operating system job is to create the authorized users and maintain the authorized users and maintain the log files for each and every activity of the users. Who are the users accessing the system, at what time access the system, at what operation done, and give the controls to the different users and impose it. And by force, if any unauthorized user trying to access, it can remove the accessing permission also. So that is about protection system. So the next component of the operating system is networking. We can call it as distributed systems. And distributed system is a collection of processes that do not share memory or a clock. That means you can combine different computers so that each and every computer has a processor, and each processor share memory and clock. So by combining different computers, we can make a communication network, right? And here each processor has its own local memory, so there is no restriction of the memory, so every process can do its execution of its own. And processes in the system are connected to a communication network. Now what is the advantage of networking? If you do one task by one person is different for doing the same task by number of persons. So that is the advantage. We are giving a task to the computer one computer can do the task in some extent. If the same task is distributed to the 10 computers, definitely the time is reduced. So that is the intention of making networking, and the information also shared among the different computers, so the different users. So access to shared resources, like that means mainly the networking purpose is sharing of the resources. Okay, so here what we are going to share: computation speed. So because the task is distributed, definitely computation speed has to be shared. Increased data availability. For a computer, it consists of some 1 GB of data. Another computer some 10 GB of data. If you combine different computers, so from one computer I can access all the data available on all the computers. That is increased data availability and enhanced reliability. So definitely, so the networking computers provide the reliability. So here the operating system task is to maintain the communication among different computers and identify the computers in the network. Okay, so maintain some tools or softwares to provide the reliability on the network. So that is about networking. So the last component of the operating system is command interpreter system. Now, for every computer, every operating system provides graphical user interface to access the computer. In addition to that, there is one more interface that is called command interpreter. Command interpreter. So by providing or by typing commands, we can get the task. Okay, so here what are the commands? That is different. So for which we are going to give the commands, that is the important in this discussion. So the commands are given to the operating system which deal with process creation and management. To create the process, to manage the process, we have different commands written in the operating system. We can use the commands. IO handling, secondary storage management functionalities, main memory management, file system access, protection, networking. So whatever the components so far we discussed, for all these components, by default graphical user interface having some options. Through those options we can do it, and by using or by providing commands to the interpreter system of the operating system, we can do all these tasks. So this is also coming under the component of the operating system. Okay, so I hope students you understand this session well. Thank you.